Welcome to the first episode of the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice, but here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Alex Lee, Paul Bratslavsky, and Bobby Davis.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining the very first episode of the Not Null Podcast. This is episode 0. The first topic I want to talk about this week is Getty Images is suing the creator of Stable Diffusion. So they're suing it over an alleged copyright violation. So basically, Getty Images, all of their entire database, I guess, was kind of sucked up by this piece of AI and used to create new images, whether they be derivative images or transformative images. That's up for debate. But it uses their images, including some images that had the copyright, literally the copyright name on them, like Getty Images copyright, and it mimicked that. So what do you guys think about Getty Images suing Stable Diffusion?
I think it's definitely a conversation we need to have. But I am laughing at the fact it's like, how did you know that we're using Getty Images? I don't know. The watermark that your AI has been replicating on all the images? That could be a hint.
I like it that they didn't even pay for a legit Getty subscription to copy them. They just scraped it.
Right.
Exactly.
Just scraped it. It's actually from so the data set they actually use is a public like data set, right? I guess it's some kind of like an open source data set, Lion 5B, which has almost 6 billion images in it. So basically it scraped the internet, right? It's like anything that they can go to a website and view, they've grabbed it.
Right.
So that's where these get kind of sucked into that data pool, and that's where they came from.
Right. My gut feeling is that that they're going to prevail in this lawsuit. So unless we just say copyrights don't exist in the United States, I mean, because Getty paid a lot of money to get their database together. They paid creators to go out and take a picture, and then they sell that picture for money. And then so now these guys come along and take it for free and then charge for it. I think that's where they're going to lose. You can't take someone else's work and charge for it. So I look at it like this. Imagine if when they go to court, they're going to say, could you create images without the training data? And the answer is going to be no. But the bigger, broader question that a lot of these AI guys that say AI is learning or whatever is, could AI generate an image of a little league person crossing home plate without 1,000 people going to little league games and taking that photo to begin with? And it can't do it. It'll never create an image from a text prompt unless it has an image to begin with to go from. And even the fact of labeling the images about the image, in other words, you had to label the image to begin with to say, oh, this is an image about little leaguers playing baseball. That's why I don't think they have a leg to stand on. A lot of people can debate whether it's transformative or whatever. What's the other term
Derivative.
for it, Kevin? Derivative. That it creates, we have people argue with us on our YouTube channel that what's creating new pixels, and technically, but it's really not. I mean, it's copying. And sometimes even now, as we talk about this, there has been people putting in text prompts in other platforms, getting the exact image back. It went and got the exact training image from it. And it's okay, it's not really.
Because it's done its job at that point, right? It's basically the AI, the way it's thinking of it's saying, okay, so I'm searching for this term and I have an exact match for it. Therefore, I'm just going to serve you the exact match.
Right.
It's not learning. It's just the only way that it's learned is this was successful. Therefore, the next time this is asked for, I'm also going to give it this successful answer.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to lawfully scrape it? What's their terms and conditions? Can you pay for, is it on a per picture basis or is it a membership thing? If they were a member and scraped it and then no longer a member, then is that still legitimate or not? I don't know.
It's per picture for Getty. I think it's not an all-you-can-eat subscription. Right. It's not like Shutterstock, but even Shutterstock has limits. Mm-hmm. Even if you have a Shutterstock subscription, you pay based on. I don't believe there's an unlimited Shutterstock subscription. And I'm assuming Getty's the same way. Actually, Getty's more locked down. Getty is by image. I don't think they have a pay in advance. Or they're really expensive. But Shutterstock allows you for their lowest plan is 25 pictures a day or something. Right. So even they're working against that. I think they have a higher subscription plan where you can get hundreds of pictures a day, but it is only hundreds a day from hundreds of thousands of pictures. So they're still saying, hey, we don't want you to scrape it.
You also can't like download the images and create another download image product from Shutterstock. That's in the terms of service. In other words, you have to make a work with it. And that's where my problem is like AI is not making a new work, really. I mean, it's just copying and merging a bunch of things together. Sometimes it doesn't. And so I think where the losing chord is like when the judge asked the question to the other attorney on this thing, he says, if you didn't have the training data, could this thing make an image?
Right.
And the answer is no. But the worst human photographer on the face of planet Earth could attend a baseball game and make a picture. It may be a terrible picture, but that person could take their iPhone out there and get their little kid running around third all day long. Whereas the AI can't ever attend a baseball game or take the picture. And that's why I think ultimately with copyright law, they'll lose.
Why do I feel like
yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, why do I feel like they're going to be frenemies? It may be a lawsuit now, but they might do some type of collaboration and work together and just say, hey,
I agree. What if they agree to pay?
You got the technology. Yeah. And just because you know that Apple and Samsung, and even though they're enemies, they do work together in some other instances with their chips and stuff. Like they need chips and they want to make money. So why not make money together? So I feel that I have this bold prediction that somehow they're going to work together on eventually in a couple of years.
And I think you're definitely onto something, Alex, because like the idea is not so much like, oh, you infringe on the copyright. If you really wanted to look into it, it's like, oh, you're cutting into our profits. We don't like that. But as soon as we could do it together, it's fine. But interesting thing is, all the data that they scraped, just as a side note, funny, because I was on ChatGPT 3 and I wanted to learn how to scrape data. I wanted to scrape a bunch of YouTube. And it's like, tell me, this is not something you should do. Most people don't want you to scrape the data. And it's not legal unless you get consent or permission. So you actually have to go to websites that allow you to scrape certain portions of it. And you have to know what it is. And it seems like a lot of these AI models just went ahead and scraped everything, and then they're like, do it now and then ask for forgiveness later.
And I do think if the thing that could really happen to OpenAI or Stable Diffusion or any of these guys that are using this data set, what if they come back and they get an injunction? They say you can't use it until we figure this out,
right?
Or you can't lean on the fact like, hey, we threw the training data away. I know we memorized it, but we threw the training data away. They'll say, well, you have to start over and retrain your models. But you can't use the training data to do it. I think it could really put a hurt in on it.
So what do you use? I think this is one of those things where they've suggested that people are going to be able to opt out. So like Getty could then opt out of being in the training set, right?
Right.
I think it needs to go further than that. I think it needs to be opt-in.
Right.
I don't think it needs to be an opt-out service at all. Like that, it shouldn't be that way. We should have to opt into it. And when you start opting in, your training data set then becomes like too small. You're not going to get 5.85 billion images opted in. You're going to get way less. And therefore your product then becomes inferior because you don't have the training data. Therefore, you are saying that the product is the training data.
Another thing too is like, this is Getty today, but we haven't seen the big entertainment firms come out yet, like Disney or Marvel or someone like that comes out and says, no, we'll defend the copyright to the nth degree. In fact, I read an article this morning about a kid that died of leukemia, and he wanted to put Spider-Man on his tombstone, and Disney denied it.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty insane.
They'll come out and
hardcore like that.
AI would have been like Spider-Man coming out. They're gonna fight that. They are gonna fight it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, don't forget they have to. Don't forget part of having a copyright and having an IP in the US, you have to defend it. You're legally obligated to defend it, because I've talked about this analogy before. But when somebody comes along and they decide, I'm going to make a can of Coke and my can is red with white writing on it, Coca-Cola's going to sue you because they have to sue you, because they have to protect that. Because if they don't, what they're saying is, well, we've allowed that, therefore everybody can do that, and it opens the floodgates.
Right.
Yeah.
We're seeing art because they haven't gone after music yet.
They started Google LM. I think they have like a pretty interesting
awful.
thing.
It's like, it's really terrible.
It is, but it's the fact that they're doing it. But here's the crazy thing that I want to say about AI is that you as an individual can't really do anything in the field unless you're part of a huge corporation or huge whatever, because it takes so much money and so much resources to train the data, get the data. So as individuals or small businesses, whatever, we'll never have access to that technology. And so I think it's important to have these like court battles and more legislation to figure out like how do you manage it and legislate this technology to a point where it's not like 2-3 big corporations that take advantage of it and become highly profitable and not allow anybody else to get in the game.
Right. I mean, Vanilla Ice got sued for Ice Ice Baby. I mean, like if he's going to lose on that one, there's no way an AI music generation will ever be. It can't learn from other music to create music, So
to be honest, on the Vanilla Ice one, when I heard like, oh, he got sued and he was surprised that he lost, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
The more surprising music one to me was the Robin Thicke one, because it sounded kind of like the original song, but it wasn't an exact like sample or ripoff of the original song.
Yeah.
To a non-trained person, it was just like, oh, it sounds kind of similar, but they lost that lawsuit.
Wow.
So it was like that was kind of, and that only sounded just kind of like it. It wasn't exactly the same.
That's why I don't think the Google Music one will take that's why I think the music sounds as bad as it does when you listen to the Music LM. It's terrible. Me and Kevin listened to it.
I think you guys have bad taste in music because
I
it's
don't
definitely
know,
not me. I was jamming to it. I was like, oh, look at this.
Okay.
I'm like,
did you have one that did lyrics though?
oh yeah, that was hilarious. It's like,
they're not even real words.
Yeah,
It's
hilarious. Funny.
Words.
Like,
It's
funny.
Yeah, it might be good for audio, like for instrumental type stuff. It's okay at that, I think, because it knows like you can arrange like chords in a certain progression, and it's more scientific, right? It's mathematical, whatever.
But,
it's like if something works. It can kind of be trained on that. But as soon as it comes to lyrics, it fell apart.
But the funny part that it's like, it's obviously gibberish, but then there's some familiarity. You're like, oh yeah, it's trying. It's like kind of weird and freaky.
Yep.
Although it does sound like me singing, so I was like, whatever. There you go. Hey, I figured it out how to recreate Paul singing.
I think your music career is safe, Paul.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Did you actually see the a little off topic but AI related, the Nothing Forever show on Twitch got banned?
Yep.
And it's supposed to be like a parody of Seinfeld, and it just went kind of ballistic and started saying pretty bad things. But
get banned for kind of anti-Semitic stuff or something.
Right.
Is that
or
something
like transphobic and stuff.
Oh,
like
transphobic.
That.
That was it. Yeah. Like,
it's just crazy how kind of willy-nilly these companies are just putting data in without any like regard for what's going in, as long as it's going in.
There's a big discussion we can have around like the training data for AI. Definitely.
Right.
That's like a whole thing in itself, because it only knows what you feed it.
Well, they have two layers to the training. They train it obviously with the images, but then they also take humans, and then the humans evaluate the results, and that also influences the trainer. And so like if the humans are influencing it, and you have a group of humans that have a certain bias, then that training data is going to be biased that way. And it's just the way it is.
I wonder if the Getty image was like already pre-configured or pre-vetted. So there was like some safety with these images not being kind of not safe for work kind of thing. So maybe to them, it was like, oh, this is a perfect place. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why it is part of that data set, because it is pre-vetted. But again, it's pre-vetted and could also be biased. In some way. I
still laugh at this football player.
At the end of the day, Getty wins in this lawsuit. I think at the end of the day, I've had to put money on it.
What are they going to win though? If they do
have to pay for it.
Yeah, I think.
That's a lot of pictures that they're going to have to pay.
It's a lot of pictures, and it's going to be per use. So like they're going to get on, and then you make is the thing profitable if they have to start paying for their data?
Yeah,
and, that's what I think. That's what Getty's saying. Like, hey, we pay for the data. Why don't you go ahead and pay for it?
Although now I know where to get free Getty images. Just go to Stable Diffusion and say, "Can you make me a Getty image without the watermark, please? Because I'd like to use it inappropriately on my website."
Okay, let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about TikTok. So we've heard a bunch of stories over the past maybe year or so about TikTok being banned in the US. We heard it back in the last presidency and continuing on into this one about TikTok being banned in the US. It is currently banned at a federal level in the US, meaning if you're a federal employee, you cannot use TikTok on any of your devices, which is interesting. But they're talking about actually having like legislation so that if you are in the US, you can't use TikTok. And when I say you can't use it, it's a ban in the App Store, basically. So it's going to they're suggesting removing the app from the Apple Store and the Android Store, so you can't actually download it. I don't think there's a way they can actually genuinely ban it, because there's always ways you can get around it, but it will essentially ban it for the masses, right? If you're not a tech person and you can't figure out a way around it, you'll essentially ban it in the US. And I also saw, as a follow-up to this too, that just yesterday there was in Texas.
Yep.
They're looking at actually banning this statewide as well in that state.
Go
That
Texas!
Government level.
Texas and North Carolina banned it in the 23rd of January.
So
Okay.
here's the funny thing about TikTok, which I just recently learned. The content that they have in US TikTok is not the same as it is in China. And here's the thing, when you ask young children in US, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? They'll say something like, I want to be an influencer, right? Because that's the thing to do. In China, when you ask a kid what they want to be or want to do, they're like, I want to be a scientist. I want to be a doctor. And so TikTok content in China, it's all science, like lessons. It's all like math, physics. It's like educational content. Nothing like we have it here. And so let me put my tin hat on. It's basically designed for us to rot our brains by stupidest videos that we could watch and binge on, because the content that they show here and the content they show in China are totally different. Like if they took content that we have here that they allow us to have because they want us to rot our brains and put it in China, they would out loud there too. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty insane.
And it's probably the algorithm that rewards certain types of content on TikTok. That's what gets the views. That's what gets the likes, which then is a vicious cycle of like, oh, this is the content I have to make, So that's why you see Ice Bucket Challenge or.
I would say the recommendation engine on TikTok is actually pretty good. If you start watching a certain type of video, it would definitely feed you more of that type of video.
Addicting cat videos for me, and I just can't put it down. And
there you go.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
mine's filled with cat videos.
The thing that TikTok does really well, and all of us are somewhat content creators, is it really helps small content creators get noticed right off the bat. Like YouTube and Instagram, it's a grind your first year, but you could be kind of this overnight sensation in just a day, and then suddenly get 100,000 followers, right? And that virality just spreads pretty quickly. And that's probably why TikTok was able to get as big as it is. But now it's becoming a little bit uncontrollable, I guess, to the eyes of the government.
Yeah, so just to cover the reason for the suggested ban or the current bans in states and at federal level is because it's owned by a Chinese company who has kind of like, who's been accused of being, having oversight from the Chinese government, and being able to use TikTok to gather a whole bunch of data, which isn't just what cat videos you watched.
Yeah, it's biometrics, keystrokes, every site you visited, your location data, everything. And if you're a government employee, having your biometrics is kind of a problem. Yeah. If you have a foreign government that has that.
They're using the CCP algorithm that no, but it's kind of interesting because like the things that they do already in China in terms of their social score, how they keep tabs on their own citizens, to just say that they wouldn't do it with TikTok on like the broader scale, that's like,
of course they would.
Of course they would. Why wouldn't they?
We just shot a balloon down yesterday, man.
Right, exactly. They're sending balloons, because the TikTok is not, it's like it's not enough for them. It's pretty wild, So I think it's
tracking the balloons to TikToks. Is that
exactly? They're literally that's what they're doing. They're from the balloons looking at our TikTok like screens to make sure we're still using TikTok, and if it's not banned yet, because they want to know their information. But I was
maybe the balloons are the
like it's pretty. But it's pretty clever if you think about it. If I was like a government and I wanted to spy on people in a way where they almost let us, it's like create very amazing entertainment app that people can't put down and want to use all the time. And then if the government does decide to ban, they fell in love with the app so much that there's going to be like a pushback being like, why? It's only TikTok. But
We
Well,
saw
you know
that.
what
There
they
was
say
when it
in-
was suggested. There was
Yeah.
literally pushback when it was suggested. There were people standing outside
Yeah.
in DC, like with
Right.
picket signs, like don't
Jeez.
take my TikTok.
Don't take
Oh
my
my
TikTok.
God.
It's like, and then China sat back being like, awesome. No,
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
we
They're
didn't even
like,
have to do anything. We're just like, let the
please
people
keep
like
TikTok.
revolt over it.
Well, you
Exactly.
know
It'll be
what
funny
they
if
say-
slowly, like everybody who uses TikTok starts to speak Chinese over time.
Right. So you know the number one rule to hacking is it's not really hacking anything. When most hacks happen is getting someone to download something. So like
Yeah.
and if you can like put an app in the store and essentially open their phone up, then you've essentially hacked that device. And if you have biometrics, that means you could log into it. I mean, if they were using Face to get into things, you probably have access to their iCloud account. You probably have access to everything.
I'm sure if you
so-
dug into terms of service, you've given away rights to all
It's
of that
pretty
data.
bad.
It's not like it's not
I've read it.
hidden. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
hidden.
yeah.
It's in your face, but
Yeah,
nobody
it's
reads
a-
those terms of
no one
service,
reads
right?
that.
You click it, and it's like, yeah, I agree. I want to see cat videos, right? And you
Right.
just click
What-
it, and away you go.
Yeah, and what's crazy if people say, "Oh, like TikTok, it's free. You could say whatever you want." If you create content that doesn't like agree with the China's view on, like, let's say Taiwan or the history that happened before, they're gonna make sure you're not able to show that content. And so it is policed, and they are doing things specifically for certain reasons. And I think people should be weird. My superpower being a boomer, so I don't use TikTok, thank God. But
No, neither.
it's
One of my buddies who makes videos about cybersecurity always gets flagged with his videos. Maybe they just don't want people to get
Oh.
smarter about their
Oh
phones.
no, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
100%. Yeah.
It's like, this is a danger to our viewers, like to you or to the viewers.
So we know this happens in reverse, right? We know China have banned a whole bunch of US-based companies,
Everything.
Facebook and the likes, right? They've banned everything,
They've
right? They've
banned
banned
them
everything
all.
US-based. So is this like the same thing then? Is it partially revenge? Is this like is
well,
it
I mean,
political in some way?
that's a good thing to do. Yeah, you ban ours, we'll ban yours.
What
So,
like my way of thinking is like this: if Russia created something similar like that to like as popular as TikTok, would you still use it? And like the answer is no. And it's very obvious reasons. They have bad intentions and like what they're doing. But I feel like any government that doesn't agree with the betterment of society through the way they carry themselves, like, people should be suspect.
yeah, they've already banned the hardware company Huawei or
Yep.
Huawei or whatever.
Huawei.
Yep.
Huawei, all their network edge devices.
That's
they
why
were
I
putting
separated
those on
my
cell
fiancé, by the way.
towers, and they were
That's her favorite
shown to
phone.
be
And I was like,
getting
nah.
inside the cell traffic, so like they're trying their best, and they're definitely going to be a bad actor in this place. And so I think it's just a matter of time before it gets banned. It's well over 25 states now. The federal government's banned it, and they can, if the servers aren't located in the U.S., they can ban they can stop the traffic from coming in the U.S.
Yeah.
The
knew
biggest
Huawei-
problem
Stop
is
it.
yeah,
Go
like,
ahead,
the biggest
Alex.
problem is that thank you. The biggest problem is that it's so product driven. Like, as long as, for at least in the US, I truly believe, like, if it's a good product, people are gonna complain if it's gone, right? Once you give
Right,
it to
yeah.
them, they're gonna not, and you take it away. That's a big problem.
Yep.
Like, so that is the mindset of Americans in general. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah, it
take
is.
stuff away from me, especially if you gave it to me, right? So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a big issue if
Yeah,
it
it's
starts
gonna be
getting banned
crazy.
everywhere. Yeah, but
It
unfortunately,
will be, because I
China,
wonder if we'll
like,
ever truly
communism, so they you kind of have to listen or else.
right. Well, that's going to be the thing. Is that going to be like the reason when they do take it away? Is just like, well, because of reasons we can't really talk about, or are we ever going to get transparency? Because if it's reasons we can't talk about, there'll be revolt. They're going to have to be kind of transparent over it. and
Yeah,
very transparent.
100%.
But has that really stopped anything? Like, you hear about Facebook and all their Cambridge Analytica
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
and
insane
People still
also.
use Instagram, right?
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. We give away our kind of our digital rights very easily,
Right.
very kind of freely, even knowing what happens. We kind of still choose to give them away, even
For the
knowing that
convenience.
data could be used against us or whatever. So
I've said this for a long time. The next killer product is if you could privatize your private information and become, and you could sell it and opt into anything you wanted, or opt out of everything and only opt in things you want. That's the next killer app. where you could
Yeah.
you could say, I want to see those ads. I want to because I get paid to see them. Those kind of things.
Right.
So you have a digital vault of your private information, but it's all so out in the wild now. It's gone at this point. But that doesn't mean that you should just give up and install TikTok and because they're doing this at a massive scale. So if you have 100 million iPhones or 100 million devices, you can get a footprint of something across the U.S. when you look at it on that kind of scale.
I think the reality is that we don't really have much say. It's the government, in this case, it could be the Chinese government as well, right? Like they're giving up their data footprint as well. It's just done in a different way where they get to control it, but it is what it is.
Though, when they banned Huawei, for me, it was like a small win because have you ever seen the cameras on those phones? You could literally zoom into the moon and see the little people on the moon. Try to do it with your Apple iPhone. Apple iPhone, what are they doing? What are they doing with that camera? It still sucks to this day.
Hey,
still
the new
sucks.
Samsung S23's got it can look at the
moon.
Yeah,
it's...
that hold on? Is this now the new bar for a camera phone that you can look at the moon? Is this the new thing?
Dude, I felt so embarrassed because I felt so confident that iPhone would even be able to stand a chance. And I had little phone, standoff. And literally mine looked like you couldn't tell. Is it a light bulb? Is it a moon? Is it whatever it is? And then the girl had perfect moon, with 20, 30 zoom. And I'm like, oh, that's it.
I know
the
what
only
I'm
reason
doing
go ahead.
I know what I'm doing tonight. I'm going outside to see if my iPhone can take a picture.
Literally, the only reason I have an iPhone...
If it can't see the American flag up on the moon, your phone sucks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's the new standard.
That's so dumb.
Standard.
Yeah, Apple, they don't know what they're doing with their cameras. It's the worst. The worst.
Let's move on to a story about Sony, another giant company, and they're now what they're saying they're increased to 5 PlayStation 5 consoles ahead of this PSVR 2 launch. So anybody that doesn't know, they're going to be releasing a VR headset. It's like $550 for the VR headset that accompanies a PlayStation 5. But I don't know if you guys have tried to buy a PlayStation 5. It's been out for a couple of years now, right? November 2020. This thing's been out for a minute. If you've tried to buy a PlayStation 5 up until this point, and I have numerous times, I've never been able to get one. Anybody else here buy one? Tried to buy one?
No, couldn't do it.
Nope.
So to be full disclosure, I'm part of the PC master race, so I never tried because I'm into PC gaming. But
I am too, but I have an Xbox, I have a PC, but I want a PlayStation as well. I want all the consoles.
Some games on PlayStation 5 that I'm looking for.
So now that Spider-Man 2018's out on Steam, that's all I needed from PlayStation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they have some good exclusives, and they do. This PSVR 2 does look good, but it's kind of the coinciding hey, we have this new piece of kind of expensive hardware because it is expensive, right? You have to use this VR headset, which is $550. You have to already have a $300 or $400 or $500 PlayStation 5, whichever one you've chosen. We'll talk about that in a second. So it's kind of an expensive thing to get into. Bearing in mind the Oculus is $400 now, right?
Yeah.
$500 maybe,
yeah.
400 I think.
400.
So $400. So it's more expensive than a standalone Oculus, but you've got to have this other thing. So it's we're bringing out this expensive piece of hardware, and guess what? Now we've got a whole bunch of PlayStations to sell you as well. It's what are you doing? Was it really part of the chip shortage for this massive amount of time, or tin hat time? Did they just hold a bunch back for the launch of this expensive piece of hardware?
It had to be chip shortage. I mean, if you can imagine if you're a game developer and you built your game and you're an exclusive on PlayStation 5 and then no one can buy it, I mean, they would get those third-party content creators would be highly upset. Imagine, was it Insomniac that made Spider-Man? I imagine they're pretty upset, that some of these games didn't get really released like it could have because no one could buy a stupid console.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I worked in manufacturing, specifically semiconductors, and that turnaround time from start to finish is 3 to 6 months, depending on how well you get the yield out of those semiconductor chips. And during the whole pandemic, all these businesses were saying, we don't need any more product because we can't sell anything. Just kidding, we actually do need it. And then all of a sudden, now you have to make chips out of thin air, which you can't actually do. So That's probably why there was so many. You even see it in what do you call it? New cars.
Yeah.
None of the new cars had nice features because there was no one manufacturing those things because the supply chain was pretty much ruined during that.
Yep.
Because of
I
that
bought an
whole
electric
incident.
car just at the end of last year, and the wait time for it was about 8 months. Just to say, hey, I'm interested in buying one, and then it took 8 months for me to get it. It was crazy. And there's some cars that I couldn't even order. There was a couple of cars I was interested in, and I went to be like, hey, I'm interested in buying one of these. How do I do that? They're like, yeah, we're not even taking pre-orders. The pre-order list.
Some used
filled up in a
cars were
day.
more expensive than the new cars because they had the actual premium features that the new cars couldn't have anymore.
It's crazy.
I had somebody like literally walk to my door and be like, "Hey, you selling your car?" I'm like, "No, I need it," but because it was pretty intense. Just because like new cars were, the same like what Alex was saying.
Just to confirm, though, anybody out here looking to buy a PS5 right now?
Not the one with the disc, though. Like, what are we in, like 1940s?
Yeah,
like, what am I going
to
to
need a disc anymore?
put my record player in there? It's like, what am I doing?
It's a Bluetooth player,
with my
right?
life? I have to have a DVD collection.
Yeah.
So, this is the Laserdisc version. I don't know.
Laser disc. What's a laser disc? What is that?
Laser discs.
It's like a frisbee.
This is the Laserdisc version. So there's 4 versions that they sell, right? 2 of them are bundled with the game, and one of them, each one of them, one has a disc, one doesn't. One's the digital edition, right? So you can currently buy 3 versions: the bundled ones, of course, both with the game, and the standalone disc version. The digital edition, I've yet to see for sale.
No, you'll never get it unless you buy it with that stupid game.
So do you think that's a false product? In other words, like you could get it for $3.99. You come here and they say
100%.
Yeah, so I can get the $4.99 model
Maybe.
because that's the
Listen,
one I can get.
I got a solution. Open the box, take the PlayStation out, take the game out, sell them separate. Boom, problem solved. But they're not doing it because they want to get extra $50 or however much it is. It's like they're just trying to.
People have been flipping those things for 2 years, though. I mean, like,
seriously.
The aftermarket for them
flipping
has been nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen,
it has.
I'm gonna tell you the story when I was like really disappointed with myself. One day I needed to buy a car battery, so I went to Walmart. And as I'm walking through Walmart, I see one PlayStation left, and I'm like, you know what? I could get it tomorrow, right? I don't even know why I thought that. Big mistake. And then after that, for past like 8-9 months, like they're not anywhere to be found. And I was just like, I didn't need that car battery. I should have bought both, though, to be honest.
You could have paid for that car battery by flipping that PlayStation.
Definitely.
Right. To be
that.
honest, I could have bought the PlayStation 5, sold it, and upgraded my car.
That's right. Exactly.
But you would have to wait like
funny.
6 months for that car. So
100%.
This is true.
100%.
You
Yeah.
couldn't even get the car.
you might have to
The
walk
funny
to work.
thing is, like I've since I made the decision not to buy the PlayStation, I haven't been driving my car because I just like don't have any reason. Like I'm local, like I go walk somewhere, just like
I think we can all agree you made the wrong choice there.
You made the
yes,
wrong choice.
I,
Should have
I
bought the
totally did
PlayStation.
100%, and I'm
Should've gone
ashamed.
for the PlayStation.
I'm ashamed.
Which also, if you've like you said, you've been trying like 8 or 9 months past that. I've never ever seen one in the wild in a store ever.
Mm-mm.
And I'm one of these people
Not
that
even
will like,
displays.
whenever I go to Target, like I will check just to see because I'm just interested at this point. Do you even get them?
No.
I asked the guy at one point, like, do you get any PlayStations? And he's like, a few every so often. It's like they sell out instantly. I'm like, do they? Or are you just like, your buddy comes by and
Backhanded
just
deal like you do at the
exactly
alley,
work
like
out.
extra,
Yeah.
whatever
I
the hell
have a
they
feeling.
little
I can't-
handshake,
Wait, so-
whatever.
I can't
Are both
confirm Kevin's the only
PlayStations-
guy I know that gets actual posters from Mondo News. Like he gets them. He just says, "Hey, I got this. Look at that one in his."
It's true.
There."
It's true. I've never bought any aftermarket ones ever. I've never paid over MSRP for it. I refuse to. I've sold them for more than MSRP.
You're part of the problem.
I
Are
am.
both
I am.
PlayStations out of stock, or is it just the one that doesn't have the disc?
Just the one that doesn't have the disc. You can
What's
buy the.
the-
Oh no, I'm
what's-
talking about in the stores though. They're all out of stock.
No, they're all out. You can't buy it
Oh,
in the
okay.
store. At all.
Yeah.
My favorite thing I saw is they had like a PlayStation fridge, which kind of looked like the box for the PlayStation. And every person that turns the aisle, they see it, they're like, run to it. And then they're like, oh, disappointed. I'm like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
Although I was one of those lunatics too. And was like, they got me with a refrigerator that looks like the PlayStation.
Yeah,
I got so
like that
mad.
refrigerator too. Yeah.
I was like, I gotta, yeah.
There was a guy who actually I forgot his YouTube channel, but he basically bought PlayStation 1s off of people, and then when he went to go meet them, he would smash their PlayStation 1 and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not interested anymore." And then they're just like so shook and they have no idea what to do. But then he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry." And he busts out a PlayStation 5. He goes, "Oh, you could have this instead."
Wow.
That is such a roller coaster right there.
I know,
It is,
so
because
many
he's lucky somebody
emotions.
didn't-
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't like. Yeah, could have been.
But it just
bad
reminded
things.
me of this topic because I was just thinking how hard it is to get these PS5s, and he just giving it away for free. So if you ever want a PS5, maybe try to sell a PS1, and then you might
and have it smash it, and then don't hurt him. Wait, to make sure
I know,
that
Paul, you might do your jujitsu on him.
No. I'm pretty chilled. And I don't have a PlayStation 1 to sell, unfortunately, either. So
Okay, let's talk about our final topic here. The really, really important topic of office chairs.
yeah.
Right? So I want to use an example to talk about office chairs. And we're going to talk about this Porsche design Recaro gaming chair, limited edition, gold stitching, comes with, I don't know, a back massager built in. It has no technology. It's not crazy, but it's $2,500. So who's signing up? Who needs a new office chair? Who's signing up for this?
Exactly.
I know Paul needs a new office chair.
No, my chair is perfectly fine. I don't know why. I've been actually meaning to tell you all sitting slouching in your chairs with terrible posture, and I think it's because of your very comfy chairs that you have. I have specifically made chair from IKEA that teaches me to sit properly with the best upright posture, health, beautiful, wonderful, and honestly, if you take $2,497, that's how much money I have left with my chair that I have here. Literally, my chair, well, I stole it, but if I didn't, it would be $299. Very amazing, perfect. And I didn't steal it. I kind of held on to it
just
when
forgot
I
to
went
give it
for
back.
a walk,
So now you're running all our brand sponsorship deals that we could get, and now everyone's going to think we.
To be honest, that chair better come with a PlayStation for that amount of money. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a Porsche. It better come with a Porsche.
A Porsche, yeah, exactly. I just wonder who's the market, because it's if you already have a Porsche, if you want to sit in the chair, you'll just drive your Porsche to Starbucks, get a coffee. So this is aimed at people that unfortunately will never have a Porsche.
I don't think so.
$2,000 on a chair.
They'll never. You're right. I see the problem. So if you're spending $2,500 on a chair, but you don't have enough money to buy a Porsche, think of
you just
your
look like a schmuck.
money management skills.
So hold on.
And priorities.
Are we saying it is a prerequisite that you have to have a Porsche to own this chair?
Of course.
I agree.
But part of me,
I agree
though,
with Alex. So you look like a schmuck.
But part of me, to be honest, I wonder if I bought that and I have it in the background of my live stream, would it give me dates? Would it really help? I wonder.
Well, you could definitely strap in with the harness holes that are in this chair.
That's going to make you look cool on screen.
I know how they could sell this like hotcakes. What they need to do is include fake Porsche keys.
Yes.
That you could carry along with you.
A little USB stick of Porsche.
Or something. Yeah, exactly.
Hold on. This is just to impress people to think
yes,
you have a Porsche.
Yeah.
I mean, why else do you buy a Porsche? Or a Porsche chair.
So people don't kick sand in your face. That's why you buy a Porsche. Because that's a problem,
I do believe, Kevin, that chairs are important. I have a Herman body chair. So my chair is $1,400, but it's not $2,500. And
right.
So where does the limit go?
Yeah.
Where does the limit go?
Well, 1,400, I think. I agree with Bobby. I think 1,400 is the limit because that's
$5.
Okay, so that's a Herman body. That's a Herman Miller body chair, right? It's the top.
Do we
of the
even know
range.
if this is a good chair? Do we even know? We just
No,
know
we
that
don't
the
know.
No,
Porsche
it's
logo
definitely
is
not
on
a good
it.
chair.
We don't even know if it's an
it's
actually
a money
good
grab.
chair.
No, it's actually a pre-order. Comes in. Nobody even has this chair yet. It's not out till
you gotta
April.
wait 8 months. That's when you get the
If
car.
I had $2,500 to spend on a chair, here's what I'm doing. I'm probably spending maybe $1,000, maybe $1,500 on the chair, maybe. Now, I to full disclosure, I bought a steel case chair right at the beginning of the pandemic. It was like just over $1,000, and they've really gone up in price since then too. By the way, I think they're about $1,400 now. So they've really gone up. And would I buy it again? Yes, I would. But I would take the other $1,000.
Buy a PlayStation with a VR.
I would never buy this chair.
The other
Kevin,
thing too
you need to
about
pull
this
up
chair
the
that I found
details.
weird is that you can go to the Ricario site, and this is just it's like a skin on the same chair they have, and the exact same chair is $1,400 without Porsche labels on it.
Beautiful.
But
So-
you got to look at the
smart right
details, Bobby. You got to look at the details.
Yeah,
Scroll down. If you scroll down,
look at this.
it's
Look here. This. Oh, look at that.
Listen,
no. Scroll down
keeps-
in the
there you
details.
go, look
There's
at
the
that.
details. It
Look
goes
at
into
that.
it goes
Section
into more.
here.
It talks about the unique 5D armrest with aluminum support. Whatever that.
oh
means.
my gosh, my $3 chair has that. What are you talking about? Jesus
5D.
Christ! They just want
And
to. People
Here's
just
what
want
you're
to.
paying for. Here's what you're paying
GS
for. This is
certified.
made in Germany. It's
Made in
German
Germany.
engineered.
Yeah,
We know we pay more for
it's
They should have, like,
out of Germany.
safety tested at least.
More
Yeah.
bulleted lists, like if you have this chair, you could walk with your nose aimed way higher than normal.
Oh,
your
actually,
math
I
guys,
totally
what's the-
would have got this chair, but I live in Italy, so I just can't seem to buy it.
Yeah.
You know why that is? I wonder if that's like we only buy Ferrari stuff in Italy.
Yeah,
Exactly,
exactly.
that's
It's
what
like,
it is.
screw you, Porsche. We're only doing
Yeah.
Ferraris. Like,
Yeah,
nobody will buy your
exactly.
chair in Italy.
You can't
Listen.
own a Porsche in Italy, that's for sure. So
Yeah, I mean, if that chair, I'd be curious.
I think the only way this chair makes sense is a Twitch streamer who does these driving simulations. And maybe he or she will do like a driving simulation of a Porsche, and they have a Porsche chair. And you could say,
Maybe.
I virtually own a Porsche, and it's in
All right,
it's in an
here's-
NFT. I'm just
They
going
better
down
be
this weird
sponsored.
rabbit
Here-
hole.
Here's the thing: if anybody wants a Porsche chair, I'll make one for you. $1,500.
out of that
$1,500.
folding
I got
chair
you
you
covered.
have.
I got you covered.
It's gonna just
It'll be
slap a
fine.
logo on the
I'm
folding
literally
chair.
gonna go and buy a used like Porsche chair, which is probably cheaper than that stupid
Oh,
chair.
real,
that-
like,
yeah, like a real
Porsche
car
probably
Porsche.
is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
from a junkyard of like a
Yeah.
trashed Porsche.
Yep.
Make it all nice.
Yep. I agree. So
Listen, like
nobody's
that
in for
chair
the
better
Porsche
come with
chair.
like some crazy benefits for $2,500. Like they should have a vacation, all you could eat buffet. Like seriously, like this is insane.
Hey, but just so we're aware, Porsche, if you're listening, I mean, if you want to send,
Yeah,
me one,
100%.
I mean,
Send us 4 chairs.
I mean, if you want to send us like 4 Porsche chairs, we'll
You know,
we'll
what'd be-
totally say this is the greatest chair ever.
you know, it'd be
We'll make
hilarious
an
if
alternate.
Porsche actually watched this and they all send us Porsche chairs, and then the next stream we're sitting quietly, like on a
And
Porsche
everyone-
chair.
everyone has a
strapped in
price.
next to
Everyone
Strapped
has
in,
a price.
yeah. Exactly. Like, and then somebody's like, "Remember when you were talking? What are you talking about?
What are you
No,
talking
not
about?
Porsche
Yeah, what do you
chairs.
mean?
Porsche
What do you
chairs are
mean? We
great.
love the Porsche
You
chair.
love Porsche chairs.
The first episode or the episode 0 will just be all right. So let's talk about this Porsche chair, and then it just ends.
Exactly.
No details
Exactly.
whatsoever.
So if nobody's hearing this, if you are hearing this, you know that we didn't get Porsche chairs.
Right.
So just know that. Okay, well that's the end of our very, very first episode 0 of the Not Null podcast. So thank you everybody for listening, and thank you to my co-hosts here for hanging out with us. You want to go a little round robin and tell us where we can find you online? Yeah, you want to start, Paul?
Oh man, you got me off guard. I'm on
Sorry.
Twitter while it still lasts at Coding30, and you could find me on YouTube at Coding After 30. Great, best channel ever. I'm just gonna say that right there. That's all you need to know.
I like it. Alex, what about you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at the Tech Rally, and also my YouTube channel, Tech Rally, and it's better than Paul's channel, so make sure to subscribe to mine first. And yeah, that's it.
That's what you get for going first. You always underperform.
All right. So Bobby Davis, you can find me on Twitter at CT Bobby Davis. All things Coder Foundry, and our channel has the most subs of anyone here. So,
Oh my goodness, this is great.
Wow.
I love it.
Pulling the
Oh
sub
my
card
gosh.
into this.
I think I have more Twitter followers than the Coder Foundry.
that's true.
But Twitter doesn't count. You know, whatever. Who cares? Twitter.
You do. I think you do.
My LinkedIn game is strong though. So.
Respect.
And I'm Kevin Doyle. You can find me at Kevin Doyle on Twitter because I am the best and the most famous Kevin Doyle out there. Not the actor, not the football player. Those guys do not own the at Kevin Doyle. That's me. So you can find me there. You can also find this podcast. We do own a Twitter handle, so you can find us on Twitter too. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but we do own one. I think we're like at Null Podcast or something like that. But you'll be able to find us. We'll each be tweeting it out. So follow us on Twitter, and we'll link to it from there. So
Perfect.
we'll be back again next week. Some new topics, some new fun things to talk about, and we hope you guys had fun. And thank you for listening. And please subscribe and follow the podcast wherever you follow your favorite podcasts. See you next week.